Hello, everyone. My name is Nicola Hines, and this is my final digital presentation for my COM 616 Communicating Mindfully class. Um, my topic for my case study was political prejudice within the United States. And the reason I chose this was because of, the controversy surrounding the last presidential election in which Trump was elected president, or the 45th president of the United States. Um, One of the things that I found interesting was his stance on immigration. So, as a second generation immigrant, I just, you know, some of the demonstrations and some of the debates and speeches that happened, I thought those were really controversial, also insightful, and just something to really thought provoking to really question, um, the direction in which we are headed in terms of communication in this modern day and age. So for my findings, basically talked about the anti-Trump demonstrations immediately after he won. People took to the streets. They flooded the streets of New York and Los Angeles and Missouri and all over. There were nationwide protests. People were yelling, "Not my president," "No, we don't support him, not today." The voters who sided with and voted with Hillary, a lot of them, they think that Trump is biased towards Mexicans and minorities, and Muslims also included. So there was a lot of political strife and discord after the presidency. People were crying. Um, the CEO of Pepsi even said that the minorities and women, people from the LGBT community, um, were they were in terror. They were sobbing. They came to her wondering, are they safe? What's going to happen to them now that they have a leader who wants to deport Mexicans and who doesn't necessarily like Muslims. And these were people who had relatives who fell in under, those categories and were also immigrants themselves. So let's take a look at Trump's stance on immigration. I thought it was really interesting in one of his speeches when he was saying when Mexico sends its people, they're sending people that have problems. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some I assume are good people. When you are in the public eyes and limelight, and you have to sort of be careful what you said. It's difficult to agree that an entire country, that basically all Mexicans are rapists, or there are drug junkies or drug lords. It cannot be the entire country. Just I'm from Jamaica, and not all Jamaicans smoke marijuana, or not all Jamaicans are drug dealers or scammers or whatever. That this stereotype that people tend to label to certain classes of people from different countries. But anyway, the other thing that I thought was of great interest to me was when he said no amnesty for undocumented migrants in the U.S. And I'm second generation immigrant, and I know people, and I have friends, family members, even coworkers who have immigration issues that they're trying to get straightened out right now. So it's sort of unfair to not give them a chance to try to, get their visas or try to get their green cards or citizenship so that they can pay taxes and make a positive contribution to the American economy. We do, the money that they would bring in, the job opportunities that they could create, the culture could, be positive. So I think we should at least give these people a chance. Um, and again, that was one of the main reasons why a lot of people thousands of people took to the streets immediately after Trump became president. Uh, in the discussion, we looked at the communication ethics responsibility. Responsible behavior plays, a really important role in communication. You have to take responsibility for what you say, what you do, and how you communicate to the general public. If the government unfairly targets certain ethnic or minority groups, this can really have a negative impact on society. Um, these days, with the blended family situations, they could be in any household a combination of Caucasians, blacks, Mexicans, or Muslims. Uh, Nobody knows. just like in any household, there could be a combination of gays and lesbians, two male parents or two female parents. Times have changed. And even the National Communication Association believes that responsible behavior is the hallmark of professional communication. So right under the discussion again, we just took a look at, what does it take to become a great communicator? Also, political candidates and leaders, they should really try to engage in ethical and unbiased discussions and speeches and debates, whenever they are dealing with the public. It's, it's their social and civic responsibilities to be fair, and would hope that our leaders have some form of integrity, that they promote and provide equal opportunities, and that they also promote unity among the people. Why would you want to lead a nation that has strife and discord? That's just basically going to make your job harder. Conclusion. And it was interesting when I looked at a report that says quite the opposite of what Trump is actually, preaching. A wide range of studies show that there is no evidence really that immigrants commit more crimes than native born Americans. In fact, first generation immigrants are predisposed to lower crime rates than native born Americans. And this could be the reason why when some immigrants migrate to the US, they tend to try to, get jobs, save, get their papers together so they can send for their family back home, help make their lives better. And so probably not all immigrants are predisposed to committing crimes, because they do want a better life. That's the reason why they migrated to the US in the first place. The other thing that I looked at was, these demonstrators, these anti-Trump demonstrators that are out there every day. Every time they get out there, that's policing to keep them in check and to keep the peace. That's money that the city is actually spending to take care of civil unrest and societal problems that they could be allocating those funds somewhere else. And so we really have to look at the damages, the blowback, and the ramifications that comes from unethical communications and racial bias. And here's a photograph of anti-Trump supporters. People, again, you can look at the crowd. You see Caucasians are out there demonstrating. So not all Caucasians are racist. There are blacks out there. There's a combination of different groups of people. I think it is our belief system that bonds us, that forge us together. We bond over that belief system and not necessarily over race. Recommendation. I recommended that Trump launch a diversity initiative campaign to reassure minorities, not just Mexican, but minorities in general, that he will, take America in the right direction. And he's definitely capable of doing that. I mean, he's a great businessman, and so we could benefit from his business and money-making skills. Also recommend the humanitarian approach. Again, if he softens up a little bit, instead of focusing on building walls and fences to keep out Mexicans, he should pay attention on, making sure that the civic unrest and issues that we have right now, that die down, and that, when he takes office in January, that things are more peaceful. He should also use the contextual communication approach as well to, for his non-supporters, and use different communication standards for different audiences, culture, and relationships. This approach is similar to mirroring, basically mirroring the behavior and showing minority that you are on their side. And here's a picture just saying mending broken fences. We definitely don't want to alienate Mexico because, they could be an ally, a very valuable ally if we need them in terms of global or financial crisis or war, times of war. So implications. If he doesn't reach out and try to mend these walls, fences, or quiet these civil unrest, then more riots could break out. I mean, I would hate if we were to revert back to a time during Dr. Martin Luther King's days of marching in the streets when the military had to get out there We do not want America to go backwards, and we definitely need to progress and move forward together. So if he ignored the mounting racial tensions and protest, the racial divide in America, could widen, and who knows, maybe hate crimes could ensue. And so I think we should all try to work together to prevent that. And Trump's, not just working with blacks, but he should in general embrace all minorities because believe it or not, America is a melting pot society and there are minorities everywhere. So it's going to be hard to avoid them. Political candidates and presidents, they just need to use different approaches for problem solving. What's going to work for Mexico is not going to work for Jamaica. What's going to work for Jamaica is not going to work for Canada, and vice versa for Russia. And so we all need to look at migration, pluralism, diversity, culture, ethnicity, and how they affect America today, and how we can improve on these so they don't become civic burdens. And also need to implement strategies that will be mutually beneficial to everybody who lives. Um, President Obama even said that Trump should extend an olive branch to women, minorities, Mexicans, and Muslims. So I think that's a really good advice, and he should take that advice from his predecessor and extend that olive branch so we could all move forward peacefully come 2017.